I'm just so moved by the fact that there were, at that time, people who were courageous enough and were such big visionaries to recognize that there was something that was worth fighting for, that was worth sacrificing for, and they were so courageous. And not just my family members, like my grandmother, Georgiana Kathleen Simonet, who was a suffragette, and you know, the women's vote led to universal vote, and that was very, very important. But my father, Sir Clement Maynard, my uncle, Andrew Dud Maynard, my mom was involved, and many other family members as well. There was a whole, but not just them, it was the whole society. And people ought to recognize that it was, we talk about majority rule and we automatically think about black people. But the reality is that there was a small minority of white people called the Bay Street Boys that controlled everything. So it was not just about empowering black people, but also a significant class of white people or group of white people that were not empowered either. So we're talking about majority, meaning the majority of Bahamians. And that is why it's so important for this to be celebrated as a national holiday. I think our young people do have the desire. But I think that we, older people, I guess I'm in that category now, are not very good about telling our stories. And I think you'll have found, you're a media expert, Julian, when you talk to people about the stories that existed back then, young people are absolutely fascinated by it. And young people recognize that this journey is not complete. It's a journey of empowerment. So how do we make it relevant to our young people? And for them to understand that, hey, it's now your turn to step up to the plate, to galvanize and to mobilize. Nobody can do it for you. We have to help you. We're there in the background to be the wind under your wings. But you have a noble legacy to stand on. You have the ability. This is your country. It's the best country in the world. And what is it that you young people across the board need to come together for to move yourselves and our entire country forward? I do think they want to do it. I think we have to help them by telling the stories and helping them understand how important it is and how achievable it is also.
And that means saying it more than just your manual. We talk about it too little.
We talk about it too little, and I think that we also isolate it into saying that it was only about the PLP or it was only about black people. It was about the majority of Bahamians, and we have to recognize that across our country, a lot of people, the majority of people they were not empowered, we were not empowered. Think about what Sir Arthur Folk said. Majority Rule Day was the most important day, in his view, since in our history since emancipation. That's a very profound statement. And it's about everybody, the majority of our people, not a small minority that actually controlled the political life in our country and also the economic aspect of our country as well. I think that we have come a very, very long way. There's no question about it. And I think that our women understood that when we saw Mary Ingram, who was a Sir Stafford Sands General, a UBP, come together with my grandmother, Mrs. Eugenia Lockhart, and others who were PLP women, they recognized that, hey, to change our society, we must all come together to fight for this cause. Women's enfranchisement, like I said, that led to universal. And from that, the recognition that when we come together, what we can accomplish. We've seen women, I can just list all of our accomplishments, but, well, small compared, and that's just so privileged to be and humbled to be a part of the growth of our country with them, standing on their shoulders. But I want us to recognize that we've come a long way, but we have a long way to go still. There are issues that we don't often speak about that we need to speak about, such as we have legalized discrimination in our Constitution where our women are discriminated against. We have to deal with that so that a woman can have her spouse become a citizen in the same way that a man's spouse can become a citizen automatically. Ditto with a woman's children, a Bahamian woman's children, a married Bahamian woman's children. We have to deal with that. We have to openly deal with matters of sexual harassment also domestic violence that applies equally to men and women, but obviously more on women. And we also still, although we say, when we look at women in successful positions, we say we are a matriarchal society. We're not a matriarchal society. We are very much patriarchal. We look at our systems, our rules. She can't do this, and the Bible says that this is a woman's place and all of that. I'm a Christian. I don't in any way denigrate the Bible, but if we look at the New Testament, it is about who did Jesus give the message to say that I've risen, Lord? It was Mary Magdalene. So we have to recognize that, hey, if we're speaking about spirituality, women and men have an equal place in society, and our young people want this as well. Look at the facts, Julian. Who is graduating mostly from our high schools and our universities? The pendulum has swung the other way. And it's a good thing. I'm not saying that we must leave our men behind, but there's no way that we should in any way inhibit our young women from achieving everything that God has given them. Their God-given gifts must be fully developed. We are part of the world, and with technology, communication is instantaneous, and people unfortunately don't always stop to verify what they may see in social media. But if we look around the world, polarization is the story, and so in the Bahamas we're no different. But I think that we in the Bahamas recognize that we can lead, we can be the light on the hill. We can show the world how to make a difference, how to lead out change, and how they can be different. They look at how we do things. We're a family, and so why aren't we working together, as you have said, to do these things? And we can. We absolutely do. We absolutely do, and we can do it. We can do this. I think it's very important. The first thing that I would do is go and speak to if you still have lucky enough to have your great-grandmother or your great-grandfather, your grandparents, and just ask them, what is it that motivated them to do what they did and to make the sacrifices that they made? Because right in everybody's family, in your own family, you have heroes and heroines. And that's your legacy, that's your personal legacy. What can you learn from that? How are you going to grow it? I would start right there. And so you start in the family and then take it out now into my community. How am I going to, as a result of what I've heard from Granny or Papa, use that kernel to enrich the community, my workplace, my school, all my friends? How am I going to step away from negativity and promote development and growth? Move away from pettiness and talk about how are we as the Bahamas, and what is my risk? What President Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you or what you can do for your country. That kind of mode of operation is what I would strongly advocate, and I believe that you can get it right from Granny and Papa. I think it's universal. It's timeless. We will always need those precepts, and I think it's extremely important to seize the opportunity to embrace and act upon them. The time is now.